right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive. We're tackling Bram Stoker's Dracula today.
Dracula.
And, we're going to get beyond just the usual vampire stuff today.
Yeah.
I think you're a dedicated listener. You're going to find some pretty cool things about this story.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, think of Dracula as just a horror story, but it's so much more than that.
Right.
Stoker really put a lot of work into the history and culture that he wove into it. It's really amazing.
Yeah, and that really comes through right away. When Jonathan Harker,
Right.
He's heading into Transylvania, it's not just some made-up spooky place.
Right.
He talks about 4 different nationalities, the Saxons, Wallachs, Magyars, and Zickeles.
Yeah, it's really specific.
Yeah, each with their own, history and tradition.
Yeah, the Zickeles in particular, they're really interesting.
Okay.
Stoker even points out that they claim to be descended from Attila the Hun.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like he's trying to connect Dracula to this really fierce, almost mythical lineage.
I mean, I never thought about it that way, but it totally, when you put it like that, it makes sense. Because he is so proud, Dracula, of his heritage.
Oh, absolutely.
That must be part of what drives him.
Absolutely. Remember, I think it's chapter 3, Dracula gives this really powerful monologue.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about his ancestors, and he compares himself to the Habsburgs and the Romanov.
Wow.
Yeah, he even says, his family and the Zickeles, they have a record that mushroom growths like those royal families can never reach. He's not just driven by, a thirst for blood. He wants power and this lost glory that he feels like he should have.
He's stuck in the past, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like he's this relic from another time, trying to cling to power in a world that doesn't work that way anymore.
And I bet a lot of people listening can relate to that feeling of being.
Oh, yeah.
A little out of step with the times.
Yeah, definitely. That sense of being lost between two worlds is a really big theme in the novel.
Right.
And especially when you think about what was going on in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time, a lot of upheaval, old ways were dying and new ideas were coming in. It was scary.
So Dracula is almost like a metaphor for all those anxieties.
Exactly. He's like the fear of the old order being swept away, that terror of the unknown creeping in. And Stoker does such an amazing job of creating this feeling of dread and suspense. How does he describe the Carpathian Mountains again?
He calls it a horseshoe of superstitions.
That's right. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Right away is like a warning, right?
Yeah.
You're entering this place where reason doesn't really apply anymore.
Yeah.
Those old horror movies turn back, don't go in there.
Right.
And then you've got that old lady warning Jonathan about leaving on St. George's Eve.
And giving him the crucifix.
Right. So creepy.
I know.
And all those little details that he puts in, like how people dress in Transylvania. I mean, so vivid, you could see it. Those Slovakian men in their hats and studded belts.
It's so detailed.
It's really wild. And it's he's playing with us. He makes them sound like stage brigands, right? But then he says they're harmless.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying, hey, don't trust what you see. Things aren't always what they seem.
Right.
Danger could be hiding anywhere, even in the most beautiful places.
Keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
And it's really interesting how Stoker shows different levels of belief in the supernatural. You've got the old lady who's terrified of vampires, but then you've got that old sailor who doesn't believe in sea ghosts.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, where do you stand?
Right.
What would you believe if you were in that situation?
Well, that's a good question. And then there's Renfield.
Oh, yeah.
He's, what do they call him, zoophagus?
Yeah, basically it means he thinks he can live longer by eating living things.
That's, messed up.
It's definitely creepy. He believes he can absorb their life force, but he tries to explain it so rationally to Dr. Seward and Mina. It's wild.
Yeah, it's creepy but also fascinating.
Definitely a unique character.
Shows that even logic can be used to justify messed up stuff.
For sure.
And speaking of messed up, you can't forget those 3 female vampires.
Oh yeah, those 3.
Yeah, those 3 vampire women at the castle, so beautiful and alluring.
Yeah, almost hypnotic, but
so predatory.
Totally. It's like they're toying with Jonathan, and it's just creepy, right?
Uh-huh. And what's interesting? The way Stoker contrasts them with Mina.
Oh, yeah, good point.
They're this wild, almost animalistic kind of feminine energy.
Like a raw, untamed power, yeah.
And Mina, she's the modern woman, capable, independent.
The new woman, as they called them back then.
Exactly. It makes me wonder if maybe Stoker was trying to say something about how people saw women back then.
Maybe there was this fear of female power, especially this new kind of empowered woman.
That's a good point. Like back then, that was a pretty radical idea. And Stoker, he's always using these little details to like build the suspense.
Oh, absolutely.
Like remember that dinner Jonathan has at the castle? The robber steak,
Yeah, yeah.
bacon, onion, and beef all roasted over the fire. Sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, until you really think about how he describes it, right?
Yeah, it's almost like savage.
Right, like almost primal. It's like a subtle hint at Dracula's true nature, hiding beneath this surface of civilization.
Whoa, I like that. And what about the Borgo Pass, where Jonathan first meets Dracula's carriage?
Oh, yeah.
Heavy, oppressive sense of thunder, he says. Flickering rays of lamps. Pure Gothic atmosphere.
Totally. And then it gets even creepier when he actually gets to the castle. The tunnels of trees, the wind howling, the snow.
You can just feel the isolation closing in.
Yeah, like he's being swallowed up by this ancient, mysterious place.
Yeah, it's like, is he scared because he's an outsider, in a place with all these weird customs and beliefs?
Ooh, that's an interesting thought. Is it just that, or is there something truly evil at work?
Right. Stoker makes you question what's real and what's imagined.
Absolutely. And then we have that whole thing with the Demeter arriving in Whitby.
A ghost ship, basically.
Yeah, derelict, the captain tied to the wheel, dead, boxes of earth in the hold.
It's a nightmare. And Stoker, the way he tells it, it's so clever. Newspaper reports, the captain's log, Mima's journal.
They're like puzzle pieces, and the more you get, the creepier it becomes.
Yeah, and then the dog goes missing, and then they find that poor mastiff, its throat ripped out.
Ugh, chillin'.
It's like Dracula's influence. It's spreading.
Reaching out from Transylvania into this quiet little town. And of course, then Lucy starts sleepwalking, very paler.
There's weird marks on her neck.
At first, you think maybe it's nothing, right? Stress, maybe.
But then it gets worse.
Yeah, the vampire's hold is tightens. And then Van Helsing, he finally confronts Lucy's mother.
Oh, yeah, about the blood transfusion.
He says, this is no jest, but life and death, perhaps more. You can feel the urgency.
Like he knows what's really going on.
Yeah, the expert finally sees the true threat. And garlic. Suddenly, it's this powerful weapon.
It makes you think about the power of belief, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Stoker, he takes these old folk tales and gives them this whole new meaning.
Like even in this modern age with science and reason, there's still the stuff you can't explain. And those wolves, too, like extensions of Dracula's power.
Yeah, they add this whole other layer of fear, like these wild creatures roaming in the night.
Harbingers of Dracula, their howls echoing through the darkness. And remember that scene with the zookeeper? He talks about how the wolves went crazy when they saw Dracula.
Yeah, like they recognize their master.
So creepy. And then there's Lucy, after she dies. Stoker describes her as having this unearthly beauty.
Yeah, the loveliness of a shadow, the whiteness of snow.
It's both beautiful and terrifying at the same time, like that fear of the undead, someone you love coming back, but not really themselves.
Yeah, and the contrast between Lucy's impotence when she was alive and then this predatory allure as a vampire.
Like even the purest heart can be corrupted. And poor Arthur having to stake her.
Oh, that scene is so powerful. You can feel his anguish.
Stoker really makes you care about these characters.
Yeah, and then the realization that Mina is infected too.
Oh man, that's when it gets personal.
Yeah, Mina, the modern woman, facing the same fate as Lucy.
The scene where Mina describes drinking Dracula's blood, it's so disturbing.
It is. It's like she's being violated, stripped of everything that makes her her.
And the thought that he can control her now, it sets up this huge battle.
With Mina caught right in the middle.
But the hunters, they're not giving up, right? Tracking Dracula down, sterilizing his earth boxes.
Yeah, they're closing in on him. And Mina, she becomes their best weapon.
She can sense him, track him. It's like she turned her weakness into strength.
It's amazing. She's so selfless, even willing to sacrifice herself.
So what happens next? The chase across Europe, the final showdown. Okay, so Dracula's on the run. The chase is on. They're going after him.
Yeah, the hunters are right on his tail. They're using every trick in the book, huh?
Yeah, garlic, crucifixed, holy wafers. The whole works.
It's wild. It's like this mashup of the ancient world and the modern world all rolled into one. You've got these ancient superstitions, but they're using technology like telegrams and trains.
Yeah, totally. Like, even with all this progress, those old forces, they still have power. And Mina, she's their secret weapon.
Yeah, her connection to Dracula, being able to sense him, track his movements, it's a game changer.
Yeah, she really turns her vulnerability into their biggest strength. Pretty amazing. But it makes you wonder, even if they stop him, can she ever really be free? I mean, from his influence?
That's the question, isn't it? Like a shadow hanging over the whole story. Can you ever truly go back to how you were after being touched by that kind of darkness?
Yeah. And that final showdown at the castle, man, that's intense.
Oh, yeah.
It's like everything is on the line, and not just for Mina, but for everyone.
It's the climax, right? All this action and suspense leading up to this one moment. And then when they finally destroy Dracula, I don't know, it's like a huge weight is lifted.
It's a victory, but not a clean one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're all scarred. Not just physically, but emotionally, too.
That last image of Jonathan and Mina visiting their son's grave, it's really sad.
Yeah, a reminder of everything they lost, everything they went through. But it also kind of highlights this idea that runs through the whole story, right? That even after all that horror, there's still love and hope.
It's bittersweet. Life goes on, and that's what makes Dracula so powerful, I think. It's not just a scary story. It's a story about what it means to be human.
Totally. About facing your fears and finding a way to keep going, even when things are really dark.
You know, doing this deep dive, it really hit me how Dracula is so much more than just one thing. It's got horror, romance, adventure, social commentary.
It's pretty amazing how Stoker pulls it all together. He layers these themes so skillfully that they really get you thinking. Like Mina being this new woman, it's not just about her challenging the status quo. It's also about a society that's struggling to deal with change.
Exactly. And then you have this whole East versus West thing going on. Dracula, this outsider representing a threat to, Victorian England. It's like he's a symbol of all their anxieties about their place in the world.
Yeah, and you can't forget the battle between science and superstition, right? With Van Helsing, he's a scientist, but he also knows that sometimes you need to fight the irrational with the irrational.
It's a wild mix of ideas, and that's what keeps Dracula so fresh. Even after all these years, over a century later, people are still reading it, talking about it, making movie about it.
It's a classic for a reason, right? It stays with you, makes you think about things in a different way.
So for all of you listening, as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with something to chew on. Could we see Dracula as a tragic figure? I mean, here he is, this powerful being clinging to the past, but ultimately he's destroyed by the modern world.
That's an interesting take. It makes you rethink the whole monster label, doesn't it? Adds a new layer to his character.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this story. It challenges you to dig deeper, to question your own assumptions, to see things from a different perspective.
So to everyone out there, keep exploring the world of Dracula. There's always something new to discover, something new to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep those garlic bulbs handy just in case. Until next time.